Hey everybody, what's going on? You're about to watch a video on how I changed out the driveline on my 2015 Mercedes Sprinter van 2500. It's a V6 turbo diesel. A little bit of backstory though. I purchased 2 drive shafts from O'Reilly's Auto Parts. The first one had a vibration, so I pulled that one out. Then I installed the second one, which they warranted, and it too had a vibration. Both the vibrations were at high speeds, and what we believe happened is that at the drive shaft production facility, they did not do a high speed balance test on them. So what I ended up doing was returning both of those drive shafts after I had to buy a third drive shaft from Mercedes directly. For some reason, you know, Mercedes builds them at a higher spec level than they do at the drive shaft. I think it's called Dorman. I think that's the company that actually makes them. So if you're going to replace a drive shaft in a Mercedes Sprinter van, I would suggest that you just bite the bullet, spend the extra couple $100 and buy the Mercedes one. It was a huge headache, and I had to basically install this drive shaft or drive line 3 times. So that's the backstory, but this video will show you how to remove and install a drive line in a Sprinter van. So check it out. All right, welcome to the show. I'm going to turn this metronome off, and here's what's happening. All right, so we got this big piece of cardboard. We've chalked our wheels. We have some jack stands, but we're not going to get into that yet. First, we're going to take this piece of cardboard and slide it under the van. Give it a little kick there. Nice. Yeah, here we go. All right, we're jacking up the van. We've got wheel chocks in the front. Didn't show that, but they're there. And we're trying to get it up there so that the wheels are not touching the ground once we lower it down. That's the whole big thing, because we want to be able to spin the wheels and drive shaft or the differential. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Alright, we got some tools, and we're going to take them out. Alright, so you're going to need an 11, you're going to need a 14, I used a 5/16 for the U-joint, and this is a T20 Torx bit for the heat shield, breaker bar, or torque converter. We're going to need a pocket knife and the old 2-pound. And yeah, you're going to need a jack and jack stands and a paint marker and a screwdriver. Alright, now we're under the van and we are on the differential side. So what I'm going to do is just get under here and loosen up all 4 of these bolts connecting the rear of the drive shaft to the differential. And now once I got that rear bit released, I can kind of crawl under here and wiggle this thing until it gets to the spongy seal. And then what I'm having to do is put my feet on one end of that rear piece of drive shaft and then hold the top and literally squat it out of there. Took me a while to figure out how to do that. Alright, now I'm taking off the 4 screws. They're Torx bit screws that hold the heat shield to the gas station, the gas tank. And we want to pull that off so we can get at these hangers. They're there to protect the drive shaft. If it does break at the U-joint, it won't skip across the ground. So you want to take those off. They're pretty easy. Alright, now that we've taken those off, we're going to go to the front where the drive shaft connects to the transmission, and we're going to remove the 4, I believe they're size 11 millimeter nut or bolts. We're going to take those off so that the drive shaft's disconnected from the transmission. And then now we're going to remove the final hanger. And I had a little trouble with these bolts, as you'll see upcoming in the video here, but you know, it's pretty basic. You just want to get those out of there. But you do want to be mindful that once you pull these off, the drive shaft will fall. So having that piece of cardboard, you know, maybe just preparing yourself, as I did not do, will be helpful, because it can fall straight onto the ground. Oh, like that. Don't do what I do, kids. Now I noticed something here. This bolt was put in incorrectly, so I'm going to try to rework the threads on that thing. I got a little pick there. It's not pretty, but again, you know, I'm doing this kind of maintenance on top of a mountain. Sometimes you just got to work with what you got. So, yeah, I mean, later on I went and got a new bolt, but that one is definitely trash. However, I had to reuse it, as you'll see. So what I did with that bolt was I put it in another hole, and kind of used the existing threads that were on the van to help straighten out that kind of tore up bolt. All right, now I got the whole thing off. Go ahead and drop it down here. And again, you know, find a big piece of cardboard like a refrigerator box or something, because you don't want to scratch this thing up. They're balanced and whatnot. So, all right, so here's the old drive shaft. We're pulling that out. It's kind of funky. You definitely don't want it to kink too much on the U-joints. They're precision. And then here's the new drive shaft. Ooh. Little unboxing video for all you ASMR people. And it does come disassembled, so you have to assemble it. Right now I'm removing these U-bolt connectors. I'm not really sure if that's the right name, but doesn't really matter. Little clips. Take those off. We line it up, and as you'll notice, there's arrows on the drive shaft. The drive shaft generally can only go one of two ways, but you just want to line it up with the arrows, because they do balance these, and if they are not lined up, you will get a vibration, which could lead to serious damage to your transmission. So definitely want to line them up, and you want to make sure it's fully seated there. It kind of clicks in when it's fully seated. Now I'm installing those clips again, and I don't have a torque wrench, so I'm just making sure that they're really fucking tight, but I'm also making sure I don't you know, torque them too tight to where they strip out the threads. I think more professional mechanics would definitely use a torque wrench, and they would use a type of thread lock solution. And let's just say that I went and redid it and used the thread lock. Wink, wink. All right, so all the arrows are lined up. Now we're gonna look at the third piece here, and definitely make sure that that's lined up. I'm using a marker before I slide off this little condom there, and then I'm gonna clean up all these little channels because they have like some dust from the box, and don't want to get that in there. Next, I'm gonna get some grease from the inside of that female end, because you know, you gotta prime the old carburetor. You know what I'm saying, guys? You gotta you know, make sure it's good and lubed up. All right, enough with the innuendos. All right, so we have our front two sections. We're gonna install those first. It's good to have a little bit of a shimmy method. I kind of use my shoulders like in jiu-jitsu class and kind of crab walk underneath the van. Okay, so we're just getting the 4 bolts kind of just tacked in there. Make sure they're flush, lined up correctly. You don't want any gaps or anything. And then now we're gonna go and put the main hanging center bearings. Gonna get those in there. Not fully torqued down yet. We're just going to, you know, make sure that the nuts are in there and that they're flush. We're gonna come back at the very end and torque everything down once we get it all lined up. Because this is a multi-section drive shaft, it's good to kind of get everything in before you tighten everything down, just because of what I said. You're going to want to line everything up and make sure that all the center bearings are perpendicular to the drive line. All right, now this part, Jesus, it feels as good as it looks when you finally get this thing on there. It is, it's a pain in the butt. And, oh, man. Whew. That thing was a pain in the butt. Alright, I know it's in there when you get a little spooge coming out of that relief hole in the back. And then now we're going to install the 4 nuts. I'm sorry, the 4 bolts to the rear end, and get everything lined up nice and tidy. And then we're going to go through and torque everything down. And that's about it. Alright, we're going to let it down, take the wheel chocks and the jack stands out, and take this thing for a test drive. And there you have it, folks. That's how you replace a drive shaft in a 2015 Sprinter van.